and good morning. Welcome to International Hawk Migration Week at Liberty Wildlife. And here we have Monk, and Monk is a Cooper's hawk. Now, I know you guys are looking at me going, Doris, there's no way that's a hawk because he's so small. He's much smaller than the hawks we saw earlier, and he is small in the wild. Now, he is not from the Buteo family like the other hawks, the red-tailed hawk and the ferruginous hawk was. He is from the Accipiter family. So he is going to be a little different, actually a lot different. He's, first of all, like we said, he's smaller, but if you look at his feet look way different. He's got that really long toe, and that really long toe is indicative of birders, or birds that eat other birds. So he in the wild is going to try to chase other birds and catch them and eat them. That's kind of what he does. And he's really good at it. He can thread the needle, so to say. He can go in and out of dark forests, thick woods. He can just go through the hole, and he can just really do a really good job of finding his prey and grabbing it and maneuvering. He's just so very maneuverable. And he is a male. He's going to be smaller. He's going to be a third smaller than the female. And that's really dangerous when they're young because female birds are bigger and they're birders. So I don't want to paint the rest of the picture for you, but it sometimes doesn't turn out really well for the male Cooper's hawks. But he does have that eye kind of like that. He's wearing that hat over his eye to shade him, to give him good sight. And he's, like I said, he's going to be a lot faster than the other hawks, and he's very stealthy-like. Now, this guy eats really well. He has to eat a lot, so he has to be really good at hunting. In comparison to me, I'd have to eat a whole pizza every day. And that's how much this little guy will eat in comparison to his body. So it is a lot of food, and he does have to catch a lot of birds. You can kind of see his eyes. Let me see how close I can get. As an accipiter, he's a little bit more high-strung because it is so maneuverable, and you'll hear him talking a little bit. So we'll see how close I can get. You can see his eye is orange, and it's turning red. As a baby, it's baby blue, then it turns orange, and then as an adult, it turns red. Also, another kind of red flag for a bird in the nest with babies. If they have red eyes, the babies might think it's blood, and so we have to kind of be careful with that as we're maturing and we are taking care of our babies. He is an Ed bird. He's a really good Ed bird for a Cooper's hawk, because like I said, they're a little bit more high-strung. And he was found by a monastery, and that's why his name is Monk. So we're going to talk a little bit about migration because it is migratory week. Why do they migrate? These guys they don't migrate a far away. They migrate small areas. They go from maybe the north to the south, maybe north of Canada, down to maybe North Mexico, maybe into Central America. But not a long ways. They don't have a long migration path. So why do they migrate? Well, if you guys have grandmas and aunts and uncles, they come south for the winter. They come to Phoenix because it's actually nicer here, right? It's going to be warmer. You'll be able to be outside. You can be more active. You can do more things. With these guys, it's all about the food. They follow what we call a frost line. So they're going to go, if it's freezing up in Canada in this winter time, and all the birds that they're going to hunt have already flown south, they're not going to hang around up there because there's no food for them. So they're going to follow the birds south. And they can come, like I said, south, maybe Arizona. Some stop at Arizona, and some even go further because in order to eat, they have to catch birds. So that's kind of why they migrate. And it totally makes sense for this guy. The last thing I want to talk to you about is their hunting. We did talk a little bit about how they fly. They've also they're very stealthy because they're hawks. They will actually take that foot, you can see that long finger, and they'll actually strangle the bird. That's how they kill their birds. And some of them, there's actually some documentation on them strangling them and holding the bird underwater. So they are pretty stealthy and sharp when it comes to eating their food. They got to figure out how to eat, and that's one of the ways they do it is they drown their food. Accipiters, he's in the middle of the Accipiter family. There's the Sharpshin, there's the Cooper's hawks, and then there's the goshawk. So he's in the middle. There's actually one a little bit smaller. They're kind of hard to tell apart, but they are going to be a little bit smaller than the Cooper's hawks. All right, thank you very much for joining us today at this segment of Liberty Wildlife International Hawk Migration Week.